Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios once again with another Digimon card game video. In this video, I want to talk about a starter deck that came out in Japan a little while ago. A starter deck that came with a Gamamon promo card. But what was unique about this starter deck is that it was completely compiled of reprints. Here in America, I believe we're going to be getting these reprinted cards as box topper booster packs in BT10, but it created an interesting thought experiment in me as what goes into making a starter deck, as well as if I was able to make one of my own. Typically for a starter deck, you have anywhere between 8 to 10 rookie level Digimon, about 10 champion level, anywhere between 6 to 10 ultimates, and then about 4 to 6 mega level Digimon. The rest of the starter deck is filled out with tamers and option cards that fit a theme together. Another important thing about starter decks is to keep the goal of the deck very simple. Obviously, you want to build into a specific Mega level Digimon with a secondary Mega level Digimon as its backup plan, and then go for whatever that strategy is. Whether it's in the Gaia Red starter deck where you put everything on War Greymon and slam your opponent once to get rid of their security, or in the Cocytus Blue starter deck where it was about building into Metal Garurumon and swinging multiple times to finish your opponent off. Then you get into the more advanced starter decks like the Imperial Dramon 1 and the Mastemon 1 that focus on explaining the mechanic of DNA digivolving. So for this one, I decided to keep it simple and focus on piercing and security attack plus. The last important thing about a starter deck is to keep it suboptimal. Obviously, when I present this starter deck, there are going to be some cards that aren't as great as they could be, or you obviously come up with better choices, but I believe that that's the point of a starter deck. You could chalk it up to corporate greed giving a suboptimal deck so that people buy more cards from the booster packs, but personally I like to think starter decks are simplistic so that you can customize it and learn from it and grow into it. With all these factors in mind, I would like to present my own take on a starter deck using nothing but old booster pack cards that I would like to call Rusted Terror. Starting off with the boss monster of the deck, Rust Tyrannomon, with his ability to attack unsuspended Digimon, but can also suspend opponents' Digimon as well. On his own, he only has 11,000 DP, and he can strike weaker targets, but the goal of the deck is to build your power around him. The ideal scenario for this deck is to have Rust Tyrannomon built all the way up, encouraging new players to stay safe in their raising area. Minomon with a 1k boost to DP when attacking other players' Digimon, 1k from Agumon during your turn, 2k from the Red Tyrannomon, and Metal Tyrannomon's ability to unsuspend when destroying a level 6 Digimon. Rust Tyrannomon should be able to destroy any Digimon in the game, save for Imperial Dramon Paladin mode. The linchpin in this strategy comes in the form of Taiga, who will allow this rusted behemoth to stomp over other Digimon and deal damage to the opponent's security. An alternative stack, if you're not worried about big Digimon and security, is to evolve up from Kokuamon and Master Tyrannomon. Rust Tyrannomon may only have 14k DP as a result and can only attack the one time, but he can still pierce through your opponent's Digimon and deal 3 damage to the security. As of the making of this video, starter decks don't come with memory tamers, but some starter decks have ways to gain a little here and there, or in this case, Taiga will save us memory, as all of our best Digimon in this deck are Tyrannomons. More importantly, I chose the ones with when digivolving effects to motivate players to move up from raising to gain effects and discounts from Taiga's ability. For our option cards, I chose the green equivalent of Gaia Force, Terror's Cluster, which pairs well with Flower Cannon and Rust Tyrannomon, as both suspend your opponent's Digimon. Finally, Woodmon was added to the deck to explain the importance of blockers. Now that I've explained the deck, let's talk about how it can be improved, as all starter decks can be. Obviously, we would be trying to get our hands on 2 more Rust Tyrannomons to help with our consistency, and we might switch out our 2 Woodmons for 2 more Red Tyrannomons, as this deck is a lot more aggressive than defensive. Speaking of defense, we'll completely remove the smashed potatoes to make room for our new Rust Tyrannomon and 2 Mimis, who will serve as our memory tamers. After that, we'll remove the Mushroomons for 4 copies of Betamon from BT7 to serve as a cheaper Digivolution or a searcher for our Tamers and Tyrannomons. Just be careful you don't whiff on those red Tyrannomons. He doesn't count for this. Our last change will be to switch out our backup boss monster. As cool as Bancho Leomon is, we'd rather get more aggressive by replacing him and one of our flower cannons with 2 Grand Kawagamons, 2 BT3 Terriermons for memory help, and the evergreen classic of green option cards, Hidden Potential Discovered. Obviously, there are other ways this deck could be handled, such as switching Minomon for Pinamon to gain more card draw, but these are just my suggestions. So with that, we have created a starter deck using nothing but cards that have already come out. This would come in the form of a bunch of reprints with some new alternate art, a nice little starter deck, and maybe a Tyrannomon promo card or a Taiga promo card to tie it all together in a nice little bow. Unfortunately, we're not getting a reprint starter deck like Japan did. I'm a little bummed out about that, I'm not going to lie, and it's also kind of weird because we're going to have, ST10 and then we're immediately going to go to ST12 in the States. So I'm wondering how those cards are going to be printed. Regardless, though, I'm looking forward to, seeing these starter deck cards because a lot of them are really good effects, especially the starter deck Greymon that, is a really powerful red card, but has very few ways of actually getting your hands on one. So let me know in the comments if there's any ways you would improve this starter deck, or if there's a type of Digimon that you would like me to make a starter deck of, like Waymon or Pulsemon. Or maybe a theme around a specific pair of colors, a red-yellow starter deck, for example. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.